a Patrick getting sacked on St. Patrick's Day. Couldn't have scripted this any better. Could not have scripted this any better.
Really weird situation there. Of course, I'm wearing my St. Patrick's green today because we're recording this on a Friday. But yeah, they still sit 12th in the Premier League table, 8 teams below them. But arguably, you can say there are only 3 points between them and the
But
drop
yeah,
zone. So it seems like he was under pressure for a while. What do you make of this sacking, though?
they have an interim manager, their under 23 boss, to take charge of the game against Arsenal because this is short notice to hire someone. Rumors of, again, Mr. Roy Hodgson, the ultimate retirement returnee, who always is ready to take up any job that's on the plate,
I feel like that's my
is
problem with
probably there.
I feel like that's my problem with Crystal Palace. Like every time they try to make like a progressive signing, they try to get a manager. They got Frank de Boer, they got Patrick Vieira, and they try to like do this sort of progressive, forward-thinking style of football, and it fails. And then their first backup is to just go right back to what was working, and then just completely undo any progress that they've made in the meantime, right? Like with the squad that they have, players like Eze, Olise, these are going to go waste. Again, not to say Hodgson is a bad manager, but like these are not the kind of players that are going to thrive under a Hodgson system. So it seems it's almost disappointing how Palace are trying to be better, and then at the first sign of failure, they just panic and just reset all the way and just go right back to where they were. There are legitimate reasons for the sacking though, because Palace have not won a single game all through 2023 so far.
They
Um,
haven't scored. They haven't scored. Their bigger problem has been they haven't scored, and they've only conceded 2 goals in probably just 2 games over the last 10 or 11 winless runs that they've had. So it's not that they're losing heavy like a Southampton or a Bournemouth, who are some of the ultimate whipping boys who will take up a 7-0, 8-0, 9-0 loss someday or the other. Palace have not had that, but they don't have someone who scores. And secondly, I really feel they need to look at teams like a Brighton, who have some sort of transfer strategy in place, have faith in their manager, and the system seems to be working for them. So probably look at a cohesive team unit rather than just looking at youngsters or some bright and upcomers. Maybe just go outside into the European cat zone, get someone from the B leagues of other divisions and try them out. I think they are far too conservative in their approach to recruitment. And honestly, I'm not surprised to say that. But as a team that's been around the Premier League at least for the last 5 seasons, they really need to be doing better.
Yeah, and I mean, teams like Brighton and Brentford have shown that there is a lot of talent to be found across Europe. They have literally built their teams on very low budget signings that have come to the Premier League and shown. So I'm not saying it's an easy process, but it's been done in the Premier League before. And for a team that has been so much better established in the Premier League compared to those other clubs, you would feel like Crystal Palace. And it's not like they're not trying, right? They're not like a Burnley who are just happy with what they have. Palace have tried this before to change and to evolve. So they're trying to do something and they just don't have the right people in charge, maybe, who are making the right decisions. But let's talk about really quickly about the actual game, right? Do you see this having an impact on that Arsenal game? No new manager, of course, like you mentioned, the under 23 is going to be taking charge of this game. Arsenal probably without William Saliba, I'm assuming at this rate, because we haven't heard any updates on that. Tomiyasu probably out for a longer time, but everybody else is fit. I assume Arteta is probably going to play his strongest 11, irrespective of fitness levels, just because we need to bounce back from that Europa League exit. So it makes sense to start with your strongest 11, go out there, get a few goals, and then rotate if need be. Do you see anything else happening in this game?
I think the side just has to go blitzkrieg. A complete dominating first half like the one they had against Fulham. Show everyone that the game is over in the first half itself, that you've bagged the 3 points in the first 45. The next 45, maybe go on cruise mode, maybe rotate some players, but that should give them confidence if they can do that. it's also a challenge for them to do it because of the way they lost. It can be highly demoralizing or highly motivating. It could go either end of the spectrum, the way that we lost the Europa League game. I am hopeful that the team and Mikel are looking at the positives from that game and are bound to take the 3 points rather than sulk on a loss that now does not matter.
Yeah,
The Europa League is gone. It doesn't matter. It's 11 games, 11 finals. That's all that matters.
and like you said, Crystal Palace generally have a good defensive record, so breaking them down is not going to be
Precisely.
hard. Is going to be difficult even without Patrick Vieira in the dugout for them. So that's going to be key. Last question: Does Gabriel Jesus start on this one? We never touched base on this, but him starting that Europa League game was a big surprise for me.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to start on this one as well? Only played 45
Ah,
minutes, so clearly hasn't pushed his limit. So probably still has more in the tank. And
I think still
yeah,
gets 45 though. Still gets the first 45. That that would ideally be good for him too. And it would show that there is strong intent to just go all out for what we have right now.
yeah, and I
I
think
wouldn't mind, honestly, sorry to cut you
no,
off.
no, go
I
for it.
wouldn't mind if Arteta played him the second 45, not the first. But if you want to say that there is intent, I think he starts.
Yeah, and I think that it's more important for him to start Jesus, Martinelli, Odegaard, and Saka, because Jesus has played some time, but he really hasn't had the real amount of time with the players that he actually is supposed to play with. So I feel like he will start Jesus, and he will start Jesus with the full attacking intent of Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli in there. And that is really what I'm excited to see. If it's anything different, again, trust in Arteta's judgment when it comes to that. But I have a feeling that Arteta is really going to start that entire full strength attack for the first time in what seems like forever now. And like you said, 11 more finals to go. It is going to be a tough run. It is going to be a tricky run. We have some tricky fixtures coming into us right after the break as well. But at least no more distractions. Just one thing to focus on. Have to give it our all and have to make the most of every single game. Only 3 points from here on out, every single match. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. Was Patrick Vieira sacking fair, unfair? And do you think this gives Arsenal an advantage going into that game? And as always, please like, share, and subscribe. Happy St. Patrick's Day, although you're going to watch this way after that anyway. And have a great day. Bye.